I love the title.
Thank you.
It's a great title. You start songs with titles?
Yes. Yeah, usually. Sometimes it might be like a line or just like a concept, but I have to have the title to be able to like conceptualize the rest of the song. So.
Yeah. How do you collect titles?
Honestly, they usually remain in my notes app for like between 3 months to 2 years before writing a song. So it will be banging around for a while before I actually write anything musical to it.
I'm very interested in this process now because does the title just pop into your head or is it something you work to find?
No, I'm not a pusher when it comes to art. I'm like, I think they find me when I'm ready.
Yeah.
Hence me having a 4-year break between albums because I can't work any other way. It doesn't bring me joy if I work in a way in which I'm pushing myself to be inspired.
Yeah.
That's just never how I've been.
Yeah.
So that sometimes eventuates in like there being a longer gap than fans might want, but it's just how it is.
Do you trust the process and that it will work?
Yes,
You
deeply.
do. Yeah.
I have a lot of things that I would love to change in myself, but one thing I have always really loved being as an artist is someone who's like very intuitively led. Like I have total trust in my creativity, and regardless of anything else going on outside, any insecurities or doubts, that's always like remained really strong in me.
Why do you think you have that trust?
I actually don't know. There's just this part of myself that I really trust beyond like anyone or anything.
Yeah.
And
Because it's always worked. It's always been there.
It's always worked in that like I have had a long career, but like my like trajectory as an artist hasn't been, it's atypical. Like it's kind of, it's, I think artists who are very commercially successful, like they'll have these peaks and troughs, and mine's kind of like been like steadily going up, and I've been building this fan base for 15 years. So sometimes I might do an album which isn't like, remotely commercially successful, but I think because it has that core, it always has fans who are attracted to it. Yeah. Because it's real. It's not based on like me trying to make a hit song.
You haven't had this feeling that a lot of artists have at some point, which is that I'm never going to write another great song again.
No. That also sounds so cocky. But I also haven't had like loads of top 40 hits, so maybe that's a blessing in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. It's like, for so many songwriters and artists, the creative process is kind of tortured.
Yeah, it is. For me, the torture is in like the fact that it's so intense, and once you get done with the album, because I'm an obsessive character by nature, so like if I'm in something, I'm completely in, and if I'm not, I'm like in la floaty daydream world. So once I'm done with an album, then you go into the process of the album cycle, and that it requires a lot of sacrifice. So that's the torture for me, is that it's this cycle that I love and hate. Yeah. But yeah, I totally understand that for some artists, I think, the like idea of like writer's block or having to beat what you did on your last album must be incredibly tough, but that's not something I deal with. I have other stuff that I need to deal with.
What is this la floaty world like?
It's just like, it's like pure freedom that I think I need between creative periods in order to like fill myself up again so I can feel inspired and like I'm part of life, because I think the role of an artist, being on tour, being in this like position of publicity or like fame, disconnects you with people. So it's like in those in between periods, I want connection again.
Yeah. You want to live a real life.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, which can be hard to do in your job.
Yeah, it can. Some people don't get a choice. and they are just like catapulted to a position where their freedom is taken away.
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of artists, there kind of is a bit of a choice.
Yeah.
You know, whether you want that side of it or not.
What made you, growing up in Abergavenny?
Oh, well done.
Thank you. I studied.
You really did.
What made you want this?
It would definitely felt like an innate calling, and I couldn't make sense of it at the time because I had no musical training to speak of.
Yeah.
I never sang in public. It was very embarrassing for me to be singing.
It was.
I wouldn't sing in front of a family member.
Really?
No way.
Were you singing in your room, in the shower, or wherever?
Yeah, I was like in private, but I also didn't have a lot of technical control or like ability in my voice at the time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a bizarre goal to have for my future, but there was like something in my heart that was like, this is what you need to be.
When made you start writing songs?
I was kind of like required to, because I was doing this vocal course.
Okay.
And they required me to learn basic keyboards. There was a songwriting class. And as soon as I did that, I was like, oh, like this is what I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah.
I'm not meant to be like I don't know, in like a girl band or like a pop star.
Yeah.
Because I had tried that and it hadn't worked.
Yeah. I saw you in a BBC interview I think it was about 6 years ago. But you described yourself when you sort of first went around to labels as an oddball. Is that how you viewed yourself?
Yeah.
Or they viewed you felt?
I think it was both ways. It was a symbiotic oddball conclusion. Yeah, I think I still feel that way. I think you kind of have to feel like a bit of an outsider to want to be an artist.
Yes.
Because I think for a lot of us, what we're seeking is, at the heart of all this, it's like feeling connected and understood.
Yes.
It's like, oh, it's like not just me, it's you guys too.
Yes.
So it's a bridge to connection.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
And that's what you were seeking when you started performing?
Definitely, yeah. I was like, I mean, when I started songwriting, I was 20, which is kind of late.
Yeah.
Did not have many friends. I'd moved to London like a year before.
Yeah.
And I think I was like seeking a means to express myself in a world where like I felt disconnected from.
Why did you feel you needed that?
I think it's, sometimes I'm like, maybe it's just non-circumstantial, it's just me.
Yeah.
It's my soul born into this body.
Yeah.
Just came in with a feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
It felt disconnected in some way. But also I think, it is partly circumstantial. Growing up, I came from 2 different cultures,
Yes.
lived in 2 different places.
Yes.
And yeah, I think like how someone interprets their surroundings and world can affect each person differently.
Sure.
So I think for me, it was like my main thing has always been, or my main struggle has been connection and trying to feel comfortable in it and trying to acquire it in some way. And I think a lot of what I've done in my career is trying to get a need met in a safe way.
Yeah.
Because my fans feel safe to me. And at the time when I didn't have that in personal relationships, it felt like it filled that void.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You took psychology courses when you took a break around 2016, right?
Yes.
I was curious if you saw any part of yourself in a more clear way in any way when you were studying psychology.
Yeah, I primarily was studying attachment theory at the time, which has now become like very well known.
What is that?
It's like based on these experiments they did, I feel like it might be in the 70s, where essentially like kids, when you're between 0 to 2 years old, it's like extremely formative.
Yes.
And the baby or the toddler learns how to respond to its caregivers in a certain way to get its needs met. So
Yeah.
you have like avoidant attachment, anxious attachment, disorganized and secure.
Right.
And I only did a module on it, but it was very fascinating to me because of my upbringing and the struggles that I had encountered in relationships. Like I would say I was definitely very avoidant in my 20s, and so it helped me unpick that. So yes, I did see parts of myself.
What did you see?
I think it explained like my big shifts in mood in interpersonal relationships or romantic relationships.
Yeah.
And it's still like something essentially being able to self-regulate is still something that I struggle with today. And I think a lot of people do, they just don't know how to put the words to it. And yeah, it's kind of a frustrating part of me. I hope it's not lifelong. You can work towards secure attachment with therapy and other things like that. But yeah, it's definitely shaped me, and it's shaped my music as well, because so much of art is about relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to come back to that break you took in a minute.
Yeah.
But you had success pretty quickly. From what I've read and what you say, I don't think you were necessarily chasing success. Being an artist was sort of paramount for you, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think I was in the beginning chasing success or some kind of validation that I was like good in some way.
Yeah, sure.
And then it is odd though, I know what you're saying, because also I wasn't really planning to be like pop. I think I had made this left field pop record that became commercial.
Yes.
And I think in those first two albums I was trying to work out, is this type of success the thing that I'm meant to want?
Yeah.
Over being an artist.
Is it that you're meant to want, or that you actually want?
Maybe a bit of both, really.
Yeah.
I think I was trying to sort out my own brain on where I stood. And then after the second record, which was like very commercial in sound,
Yes.
and like very beloved now by fans,
Yeah.
I was able to rest a bit and be like, okay, I'm gonna go and do my own thing now.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to insist that I write on my own, that I co-produce.
And
so
you're happier that way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that the other work was like less authentic as a result, but I think there's something for me that is important about working alone before I take my work to other people. So I know what I'm even trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What typically happens when you get in the situation where you get a bit of success is everybody around you wants more.
Totally. They're like, they can see the vision.
Yeah.
They're like, if you did this on a fluke,
Yeah.
what would happen if we put you in the room with these like really big successful producers?
Yeah. And how did you feel about that when they did that?
For 6 months I was like, no. And I wrote on my own, but they weren't great songs. They literally never made the cut, except for one of them called Teen Idol. But yeah, after that I was like, okay, maybe I will try this.
Yeah.
And I found the process like really good for me as a songwriter, but like very nerve-wracking too.
Yeah. Why was it nerve-wracking?
I just think the people I was in with were like so massive.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
they were running pop at the time.
Yeah. Which is a bit intimidating.
Very, yeah, very.
Were you happy with the result?
Yes, I did feel like I got enough of myself in there, and I've seen so much like love and success with that record over the years. Even the last like 3 years with TikTok, it like exploded that particular album, Electra Heart.
It is funny how that happens, isn't it?
It is. It's so crazy.
How do you feel when that happens?
It is strange because I was so used to like pushing to make things happen in my career, and then suddenly this whole thing, you get 3 platinum records by doing nothing.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful thing that I feel so like grateful for, and also feel so good about, because I always felt that album like had that potential, but it just didn't happen at that time.
Yeah.
In that way.
You basically had a map for this album, right?
Yes.
Do you need that to sort of structure it in your brain?
Yes. This is the first time I've done an aesthetically pleasing album map. Sorry, I don't have it with me today.
Well, I have a photograph of
Yeah,
it.
you have the photograph. I
Yeah.
couldn't find it. But usually I will map out a lot
Yeah.
in like a journal.
It's interesting because you have themes. You describe the energy you want.
Yeah.
And you have a color palette.
I do. Yeah, I've never had that type of like specific intention before with energy
Yeah.
and themes, but this album was different because I think I'm at the point where I'm not writing so much to like heal myself.
Yeah.
I was like, I have this platform and I want to make sure that whatever I'm putting out into the world feel like has a certain type of energy that feels positive to me or
Yeah.
euphoric feeling.
Yeah.
Because that's what I really needed 2 years ago when I started writing this.
Yeah.
And so it really helps to visualize like your intentions.
Yes.
Because you don't get to do this many times in your life, you know, as an artist. So I was like, this is the time I'm going to do this, see
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah. Under energy, you have cosmic, love rush, euphoric, dazzling, bright, light, powerful.
Yeah.
That's a great list.
Thank you. It's what I really wanted my life to be. And I also was like, music is a great way of manifesting.
Yeah.
And if I want to bring things into my life, I need to become that first. So
Yeah.
really, you know, that's also part of writing this album.
Yeah.
It's like getting me to a place energetically
Yes.
where I can live the type of life that I really want to live,
Yeah.
which is one that is rich and joyful.
You said initially you didn't like singing to anybody.
No, only because I just feel so embarrassed about it.
Yeah. So how
Yeah.
did you get over that embarrassment?
Painfully. I would go to like open mic nights in London. Oh my God, they were so, so bad. I wouldn't even go with a friend because
Yeah.
I was like, if I'm bad, I need no one I know to see me be bad, which you can't do anymore because everyone's filming everything.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so I was able to be bad in like relative privacy
Yeah.
with like, you know, 10 drunks who were there, I don't know,
Yeah.
or other people who were like testing out their skills.
Yeah. At what point did you decide you were good?
Singing wise?
Yeah, because if you're telling me that you would go to these things and you would think you'd be bad. So at what point did you think you started to turn a corner?
I think midway second album.
Oh, really?
It took me like a long time, a lot of gigs, like being on the roads to
Yeah.
really find my craft. And that's also another thing that I think a lot of artists don't get that same opportunity
Yeah.
as we used to develop just like in your own time frame. Because you know, we're expected to just like launch
Yeah.
as artists, signed artists,
Yeah.
and be perfect. And actually, the journey of an artist is lifelong. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to be perfect in the beginning. You
Yeah.
just have to be real
Yeah.
so that people can relate to what you're saying.
As a fan, I think it's part of the fun is to watch the growth,
I totally agree.
right?
Yes. I love that you say that. I think that's so important.
Yeah.
It's like when we see an artist really like hit their strides or
Yeah.
like something's changed in their
Yeah.
energy, like that makes me feel so excited for them.
Right.
And also it helps me on my own journey as well.
Yeah.
So I hope fans feel that with me.
I mean, I used to think inevitably if you became a fan of an artist, there'd be an album somewhere where you just weren't sure where things were going.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then when I got older and I was like, oh, that's actually where the turn was happening.
Oh my God, that's so intelligent.
Right?
I love that you say that because sometimes the turn isn't what you want the artist to do.
No.
Or you're like, this album sucks, like nothing's hitting for me.
Yes.
But then it's because of that album that the next album might really hit for you.
Yes.
So you have to let the artist have space to explore, essentially.
Yeah.
I love that you say that. It's something that I've always felt.
Because if there is no growth, there's no artistry, is there?
Exactly.
Right? I mean, that's the way I view it.
I feel the same.
Why did you take a break? Was it 2016?
I felt incredibly pressured inside myself. I also felt like very tired of it all. It'd been 10 years since I was doing it.
Yeah.
It was probably like 90% of my life, 10% for personal life.
Yeah.
And I think I just hit 30 and had just had a very successful record with Fruit, my third album.
Yes.
It was just like so pleasurable to do as well. And like, I think the fans had really enjoyed it and that had intensified and I just suddenly felt really trapped.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt like my identity was glued to my artist identity
Yeah.
and I just suddenly like wanted out. That's how I felt.
That must have been kind of freaky.
Yeah, I just think I need I need a sense of freedom in my life, and if I
Yeah.
don't have that, the capacity or desire to be public in any way disappears.
Yeah.
I just don't want it.
Yeah. How hard was it for you to navigate that?
Really tricky. I don't know if you believe in Saturn's return. It's an
I'm not sure I know what that is.
Is anyone else? Maybe not. It happens between like 27 to 30, and it's like when your life apparently falls apart, and you have to like rejig your perspective on everything.
Okay.
It was hard just because this is all I've ever known in my adult life.
Yeah.
But also I kind of like had some health issues that started around that time
Yes.
that I wasn't able to figure out what it was. And it lasted for like 7 years. So it's quite a long
Yeah.
period of life to like have that issue. Now I've figured it out and it's fine. But I think at that time it's just a lot going on, and I don't think my system was able to really handle it. It was like personal life stuff, family life. I'd had like 2 beloved relatives pass away in like a 3-month period, and I had another family member who was very sick, and that happened all on tour with Fruit.
wow.
So that's actually what started it.
Yeah.
That made me think I physically can't handle this anymore.
You were later diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome.
Yes.
How did that manifest itself in you?
It's the main symptom actually was buzzing all over.
Yeah.
So it's like a nerve problem.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's super common with CFS, but that was just my main symptom.
Yeah.
And it always started in my feet. And if I ignored it and just went about my day, you know, high stress, working too much, then it would basically go all the way up my body until my face would basically be throbbing. Like my whole body would feel like it was ringing.
Yeah.
And then it would take me maybe 3 or 4 days to get back to a baseline.
What do you have to do to do that?
I would have to drop everything.
Yeah.
So it would be like these flare-ups, I suppose,
Yeah.
that I didn't understand because I had no knowledge about nervous system health.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that it was something that was connected to my mental health or my nervous system, and how I'd just been living my life for a long time.
Yeah.
It took like 6 years to figure that out.
Is there anything you can do to treat it, or is it just about an approach to living that you have to change?
My experience was being aware that it's linked to stress
Yeah.
and regulating the nervous system.
Yeah.
And that's how I got out of it. It's very different for people. It's also quite triggering for people who suffer to hear about how someone has been like cured of it.
Yeah.
Because Western medicine's approach is like, they essentially say there's no pill for it, so you can't cure it.
Yeah.
But for me, this is how I got out of it. So I started doing breath work every single day, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I saw that really made the buzzing sensation go down.
Yeah.
It's also just, I have had to basically change my whole life,
Yeah.
like inside out, to deal with this.
Wow.
It's like relationships have had to be assessed, who I'm like giving energy to.
Yeah.
All of these dynamics that have been existing for a long time had to be uprooted. Otherwise, I wasn't getting out of this.
Wow. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's why it took 6 years.
Yeah. Took about a year and a half to recover.
Yeah.
But it was about 6 years of being in it.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a performer.
Yeah, it sucks because I think pushing through actually makes it worse, and that's the part of my character that I think actually created this illness.
Yes.
Is like overriding your natural
Yeah.
body's signs and symptoms.
Yeah. Your body's telling you
Yeah,
something.
your body's messages.
Yeah. But you're not listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was lucky in that I wasn't like bedridden. I was able to perform, but I
Yeah.
just wasn't really contributing to life in a normal way.
Yeah. That's got to be complicated if you're still performing and you're sort of pulling yourself through all this.
Yeah. It's a lesson though. It's happened to me for a reason. I like to take the good from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you feel good now.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a circumstance like that, when you're going through that, what does music do for you?
It's definitely something that helps because anything that is joyful
Yeah.
is like fight or flight for your nervous system.
Yes.
So it's actually really important to be doing things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
It's like when you're thriving, you're like not, you're out of surviving mode.
Yeah.
So that has been instrumental for me.
Yeah. You don't have a typical career arc. You've never sort of played by the traditional rules.
Mm-hmm.
You make maps. How did you map this out? Or did you map it, or did it just sort of evolve
No,
that way?
I definitely have not mapped my career.
You've had a very influential career, but not with massive albums. You've sort of reached people almost the back door.
I know, yeah, I love that. I love how you say that. It is through the back door, and actually that's sometimes somewhat frustrating.
I can imagine, but it's
But-
pretty impressive.
Thank you. And I also like to think real love is like given freely, and I always want people to choose to love my music. I don't want to shove it in
Yeah.
anyone's face. And
Yeah.
I think that my career is really based on that. I think a lot of people find me through strange ways. It's not through the typical,
Yeah.
I don't know, like seeing an advert or like Billboard, or I've got some like endorsement deal for something.
Yeah.
It's just, I've tried that.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't want that. I would have loved to have like chosen that route, but
Yeah.
there's something out there that is just saying like, that's not how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
So I may as well not resist it anymore.
Yeah. It has to be pretty satisfying, though, when you hear younger artists admire you,
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
emulate you.
It's honestly, it's lovely to feel that I'm part of this cycle in
Yeah.
art, and that I've been able to help young people in some way or contribute to their lives positively.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always like wonderful to hear, particularly if I love the artist as well. It's like a very like generous way for them as well
Yes.
to express and contribute back as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're making an album, in that whole process, what's the most thrilling part of it for you?
I think the most thrilling part of writing a record is midway, when you finally nail what this is about.
Yeah.
So for me, with Princess of Power, that title didn't really come until midway through the process.
Yeah.
And again, I don't put any pressure on myself to find a title.
Yeah.
I trust that it's just going to come. And it came very randomly. So
Did it?
Yeah, it was with my producer, CJ.
Yeah.
Without him, it would be called something else.
And when you heard it, what did you think?
We were like both trying to think of this character that we'd seen in the 80s, and we said it exactly at the same time. And then I was like musing on that later on, and I was like, Princess of Power. I was like, and it spells pop. It's like, this is meant to be. But also, yeah, and then that day we wrote the title track, and then it kind of started to draw all of these elements of the album together that I'd written. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I don't know what I'm writing about or why, up until like song 6 or 7.
That's interesting. I mean, I hear a lot of songwriters say that. And often you don't really know what it means until a while later,
Truth.
even
And
years.
no, the truly embarrassing thing is, even with Electra Heart, I didn't really know what it was about until like 2 years post-release. Journalists were telling me what my own work was about.
Yeah. Were they right?
Yeah. I was like, wow, I didn't know I was trying to say that. 'Cause it's almost like group therapy. Like
Yes.
people are saying, this is what you're like, Marina. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, because it's,
When you heard that, what did you think?
well, it's just impossible for humans to stand outside of themselves. So
Yeah, yes.
it can be really helpful for somebody else to verbalize what you're trying to express.
Yeah. The subconscious can ultimately give you things,
Yeah.
and you don't really recognize what they are until they're out there for a while. And then somebody who hears the song goes, well, that's this. And
Yes.
you go, yeah, oh, I never even thought about that.
Yes, exactly. Like, I'm trying to think of examples. Like with Butterfly, that was probably one of the first songs that I wrote for the records.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is like 4 or 5 months before I decided the title of
Yeah.
It's Princess of Power. And that song is really about emerging from this cycle of feeling like someone took my power away from me and I don't know how to,
Yeah.
I don't even know how it feels to be empowered.
Yeah.
Truly. It's like maybe as an artist I am to other people, but as an individual, I didn't feel like that. And so the more that I wrote these songs, it became apparent that what I was lusting for in my life was like joy, play. You know, when you've been ill for a long time, there's a lot of play.
Yeah.
So it was like, I want to make this record that feels like sunshine. There's like this glittery element, but also I want to build back my sense of power and reclaim something that I feel I've lost a long time ago as a child.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think sometimes when people see a title, they assume, you know, Princess Power, that person has always known how to be powerful. And actually, sometimes it's the reverse.
Yes.
The things we talk about or write about are the things we haven't yet integrated into ourselves and that we so want to bring into our lives.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and sometimes when you're talking about something, it's really because you're trying to find it, not because you have it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's, I think of many people in the kind of like holistic or healing spaces, like they have gone through something in order to even choose a career like that or a vocation like that.
Yeah.
But we just assume that powerful people have always been powerful.
Yeah.
And it's just not true.
Are you now, when you perform these songs, feeling all these things that you aspired to?
Yeah, I am. I'm like, and it's not instant. Like, I think it's a slower embodiment. And part of why I am an artist is it's part of my growth journey in life. It's not to sell a record, even though that helps me sustain this career.
Yeah.
It's like my soul is on a journey and these albums are helping me each part of the way. And this, this like chapter in my life is about embodying my own sense of power and sharing that with other people so that they also have a roadmap if they want to use it to help themselves.
How does it feel when you put a record out there?
Exciting. It's almost like making it public means I can suddenly step into it. There's something important about the public part.
Yeah.
It's almost like I can finally say to people, this is who I am, actually. Like the person you knew 4 years ago is gone.
Yeah.
So there's something that gives me permission to then fully embody the things that I've been wanting to bring into my life.
That's a very powerful thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's magic.
It is magic. It is magic.